there folks, and how is it going? And welcome back to another video. We are still in Torcal de Antequera. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. It's right here on the sign next to us. But we decided to stay for the extra night here in Torcal because it is just so wonderful. Now, as you can already immediately see, the difference between right now and last week's video, which was technically yesterday for me and Orla, it is night and day, and it is optimal. This is exactly how I had envisioned coming to this place, and I am thrilled that the sky is clear and we're going to hopefully then get some beautiful directional light on all of these mighty rocks that are popping up out of just the earth. It is an incredible place, and I cannot wait to get in there again and photograph the scenery again. We today did the much longer hike. It was about 2 hours and we were ambling, and it is tremendous. If you ever find yourself in this area of the world, I would highly recommend doing the walk because it's outstanding. I even remarked at one point that I think this may be one of my favorite places that I've ever been to. It is just so unique and so beautiful, and almost like the Burren. Have you ever been to the Burren? Kind of similar, but maybe in another million years or so. But as it stands right now, we have about probably about an hour and a half before the sun goes down, and we are going to head into the park again and have an amble around and see if we can capture some beautiful light. So let's get going. We begin just as last week's video ended, in the exact same place, and I am super duper happy with the conditions so far, and really happy with this first image that I've lined up for myself here, taking advantage of all of these wonderful rocks as a nice leading line into the colossalness of this background. It is really fantastic. I've had to use my hand to cover the top edge to stop the flare, but other than that, I am super duper happy with this first shot. So for now, I will let my ASMR photography lab walk you through the image, and I will see you on the other side, and let's keep on exploring. Welcome friends to the ASMR photography studio, and welcome back to this absolutely stunning location. Here is the first image I present to you, and one that I am very happy with. This is a focus stacked image and a slight bit of exposure blending just to bring out a bit of extra detail in the background. But overall, I am super happy with how this image turned out. I love the light being cast from the top right of the frame as it illuminates the beautiful limestone in such a wonderful orange glow. This place is magnificent. So folks, what's wonderful about today and right now, in stark contrast to yesterday or last week's video, is that we are getting some direct light, which just adds this contrast. Yesterday or last week's video, all the images were very flat, very moody, while they had that wonderful sense of etherealism, which is magic. Today we just get this real sense of depth. It adds just such a nice epicness to the landscape, this soft light, and particularly now in this next hour that's to come, the light's only going to get softer and softer and then accentuate them beautiful shadows that we're ultimately looking to try and take advantage of, because it's just all layers. That's all this place is, and it's so gorgeous. There's so much texture. It's really fantastic. Let's continue exploring up this wonderful hill, and there's one or two spots that we noticed on the walk that we might try and make a kind of beeline to. Let's put some steps in and let's get going. So Orla has taken the wrong path. So let's see if she finds anything down the ways. We did notice in last week's video, there's a really nice set of, I don't know what they are, spiky bits sticking up there, and I can see now that they are catching the light really very nicely. So I'm going to rush around this little corner here and see if I can find a frame for them. So let's have a look. This is one of my favorite images from the entire sunset shoot. To me, it looks like a golden crown sitting on top of the mountain. And if you're a fan of the Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan the Barbarian, I dubbed this Crom. But nonetheless, I really, really, really love how this one came out. Just the slight touch of golden light on these peaks, and just this wonderful, wonderful balance of dark shadows and beautiful highlights. To me, it all just came together so beautifully. I really, really love this image, and I think could actually prove itself nicely as a print. Someday I will print some pictures, but this would certainly be one of them. Super duper happy with it. So we have found ourselves in this wonderful clearing, and it is giving us a 360-degree perspective of these colossal rocks that are coming up out of the ground, and the light is just moving so fast at this time now, and so it's have to be super duper quick. I did take some wide angle shots to try and kind of capture the grandeur of everything that we were looking at, and now I have my trusty 100-400 on, and I am just zooming in to try and just capture some more abstract feeling images and to try and emphasize and accentuate the light and shadow within these mighty rocks. It is truly wonderful to photograph here, and a place that I would again recommend a million times over to come and visit. But as you can see, hopefully here behind me, the light is just so beautiful, and you've got all these lovely layers in the rocks. And then the sheer faces of these rocks as well. It's really adding some wonderful opportunities to capture the light as it moves quickly. But for now, we will move to a slightly higher vantage point and hopefully just continue to chase the light up the hill. So let's get moving and let's keep shooting. It's wonderful, beautiful. At this stage now, you all know how much I love the 100-400 for the perspective it can give, and particularly using it in a landscape photography orientation is a really wonderful exercise in seeking out hidden details that the landscape can. I really loved how these two images came out. It's a wonderful contrast of bright highlights and deep dark shadows. An abstract kind of nature to the frames really entices me in, and I really am super happy with how they turned out. Love them. So I have found this absolutely wonderful perspective of all of the we're above the canopy of the trees here, and it is catching just this gorgeous light, and the side of these rocks are gorgeously lit, and the foreground I've got down here is full of lush green. Because of the rains over the last little while, everything is just still kind of soaked and saturated, and the greens catching this light is just so beautiful. And of course it's helping us lead into the frame and into this wonderful, wonderful scene that we have in front of us here. And I hope I don't really ever do these starbursty kind of things, so I've tried my best to include one here in this particular picture, but I really, really do like the way this one's turned out. So fingers crossed it actually turned out okay, and if it did, I'll pop it up on the screen for you now and we'll go through in classic ASMR photography lab style. But right now it is, I think this is probably my favorite perspective so far. But let's continue on, because there's another vantage point that we're going to try and get to now in just a second. So let's continue on and get that sorted. So as I mentioned in my mad ramblings, I never really do this star burst, sunset-y kind of thing. But here I actually feel like it worked out quite nicely. And in the other image that you're going to see too, I really, really love this image and the next one that's going to pop up for you in just a moment too, because shooting into the sun is something that I tend to kind of shy away from, only just because of the dynamic range is so massive and my post-production skills are pretty crap, so I tend to kind of shy away from it. But in this instance I was super duper happy with how it turned out, and the soft, beautiful light as it just caresses the landscape really lends itself well, and is a good example of patience, I guess, for me, just to work with images that I feel are a bit challenging in terms of post-production. And I'm really, really happy with how these two turned out, using the starburst as a central focal point in the first image and then kicking it off to the left here in this second image, adding this wonderful, wonderful light. Just it's so beautiful, and again, it's such a wonderful reason why photographing in the golden hour is such a joy for landscape photographers. Beautiful, beautiful images that I'm super happy with. So I have come running up this hillside here. I'm essentially chasing the light up the hills, and the perspective that I'm looking at right now with the sun behind me is absolutely fantastic. The layering of the rocks down here is just so wonderful. It's like pancakes, some blueberries crushed into the pancakes. That's just how wonderful it is. We're actually able to see as well the mountains behind this wonderful landscape of alien rock. So I am just going to shimmy myself across the ways here and hopefully not fall over again while Orla is actually recording, because I want to try and eliminate some of this foreground. It's super slippy, but worth it. So if you do come here, just be super mindful of your footing. Oh, look at this. I actually quite off the cuff photographed this particular frame, and then when going through the images, seen it and thought, oh my god, why don't I remember taking this? I really, really love how this image looks and turned out. There's this beautiful, beautiful glow on the mountains, and it's a wonderful, wonderful compression effect introduced from the 100 to 400. For me, this is like a real landscape image. I really, really love how this one turned out. Taking advantage of the compression effect that telephoto lens can give really allows you to add a sense of depth and scale to the frame. Between the foreground and the background mountains is a huge distance, but for us looking at this image, it really feels like the background mountains are almost falling over onto the foreground and falling over onto us, and it's a really, really wonderful effect that we can take advantage of as landscape photographers, and I am super duper happy with how this one turned out. So there is this wonderful tree that is just popping out of the rocks. There's this random beautiful trees just growing out of the rocks, and it is catching just the last of this light and really lending itself well as a beautiful foreground element for this scene that I'm ultimately trying to photograph here. It is absolutely marvelous. It's gorgeous. I
I could not believe my luck when I spied this lone tree stoically standing against the elements and growing in this most harsh environment. For me, this image is such a wonderful, wonderful image. I absolutely love it. Just this beautiful golden light, as you can see, just ever so slightly caressing the top of the tree and leading us across into the last bit of golden light as it touches these limestone cliffs. Probably one of my favorites. I know I may have said that a couple of times now, but I really, really do love how this image turned out. A real minimalist frame, and one when I was photographing aimed to try and achieve this minimalist kind of look in the frame, and I really, really am delighted with how it all turned out.
Well, folks, we have come way up, like dangerously so, probably. I don't know, probably not. I hope not. But we're right at the edge of these, I don't know what they are. What are they?
It's limestone.
It's limestone. We're right at the edge of these limestone cliffs here. And as you can see, it's just this view is just breathtaking. And it's just so, so wonderful. It's like, it's really, really gorgeous. This place is yet again exceeded our expectations and what we came here to achieve, and it is just so, so beautiful. There is just the tiniest bit of light now dancing and catching on the tops of these ridges, and obviously out into the distance behind us here, but it is stunning. So we are going to get off this edge and head back down to safer ground and have a wander back through, because I would like to try and get a few detail shots of these super duper kind of pancake things. I know there's no direct light on them there, but I think it would still make quite a nice image nonetheless. But we will get down nice, safe and sound now, so let's head back.
This is a very grand, sweeping vista as the last of the light fades across the landscape. Such a beautiful, beautiful place this whole area is, and I just can't get over how wonderfully different the conditions were to last week's video. A real contrast. When I first kind of researched this area for this trip, these were the kinds of images that I ultimately looked to try and capture. Just this beautiful, beautiful direct light. I'm just so thrilled with how everything came together. Topping it off with this beautiful, beautiful vista that we are looking at now really, really put the cherry on top for me as the golden light sweeps across the landscape and ultimately takes us out onto the horizon and the mountains beyond. Super duper happy with it all.
Well, I think we will leave it here, and me and Orla shall enjoy the last of the light together. What an experience this has been, as mad and flappy and panic mode it was to capture some of the light. I very much hope I did it justice. It is a truly, truly remarkable place, and one that I very much hope to visit again at some point. It really is only just a 4-hour drive away, so it would be worth the revisit. But I think, like I say, we will leave it here. So as always, if you liked the video, then please do hit the like button, and if you do fancy following along for more of these madcap adventures, then by all means do hit that subscribe button. But for now, I will see you on the next one. Take it easy, everybody. Cheers.